Hey, good people. Rachel and Jai here with Spark Equity in Action. We're so happy to be here to share a framework that's been really grounding and guiding for us, and especially helpful for both us internally and also our work with folks externally, like clients and folks committed to diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging work. It is called the Four Stages of Competency. And to provide a high level of this framework, we want to share what the four levels are of the competency, but also share how it's been an anchor for us. So the four levels are unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, and then unconscious competence. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but the bottom line here is that there are stages to our learning, and we can't really bypass a stage. Just like if we were learning Spanish or another language, you can't go from not being fluent to fluent overnight. It requires practice and building habits. So going from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence is basically like saying, I didn't know something and I didn't know that I didn't know it, but now I do know what I don't know. And that's actually a critical point with DEI work. And then going from conscious incompetence to conscious competence, that's when we're doing deliberate learning and actually working on building skill, because we say, hey, I know what I don't know, and now I'm working on doing better and knowing more. And then lastly, going from conscious competence to unconscious competence, that's kind of the place we all want to be, right? Where you're internalizing habits. You've worked a lot, you've practiced the skills. So now you know stuff so well that you don't even have to think. There's a fluency to which you walk through your conversations and the world with that is super helpful. We just wanted to provide a high level overview first and then share a few words about how this plays out on the ground.
So with our clients, folks often say at an individual level, I want to be able to have more honest conversations, ask questions about my colleagues, peers, coworkers, but at the same time, I'm not sure I'm going to fumble and say something that I don't mean to say. Or sometimes we hear folks share that I'm aware that sometimes I say things that are hurtful in conversation. So how can I go about addressing that? What does that learning look like? And this framework gets us from focusing so much on the what about what we're saying and what we're doing to thinking about how we're doing it and then why we're doing it. It allows us to go to those different elements in terms of planning and purpose and presence. Very, very helpful.
And it helps us remember that you can't really fast forward this work. So some of those pain points you just talked about that people have where they're like, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to offend somebody. I don't want to, this, that, and the other. And it's like, we need those safe places to actually fumble and practice. Otherwise, staying silent doesn't help us build those skills, right? And so a lot of the time, the work that we do is creating that safe space, creating the container for people to practice so that the skill building work is actually aligned with real frameworks and theories on learning. And so, for us, it's so helpful to just know that there is a undergirding framework for how we go about learning this work. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for shining a light on some of the common examples and conversations around this work. So with that being said, we will pause here, and over the next several weeks, we're going to be zooming in on each of the stages of learning so that we can kind of double click on some examples and what happens at each level. So definitely stay tuned for our next video. And also we invite you to check out our ebook called Inclusion Starts with I, because the ebook really helps individuals on their journeys kind of unpack some of these questions and thoughts, and has a safe space for some internal reflection as well. So we'd love to hear your thoughts. Definitely share in the comments below and let us know your questions, thoughts, what you're grappling with. And we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Thanks.